Hey, this is Mark Tremonti, and you're on BackstageAxxess.com, where the real show begins.
Messenger here, BackstageAxxess.com. We're here in Niagara Falls, New York, at the Rapids Theater with the one and only Grammy Award-winning guitarist Mark Tremonti. How you doing, Mark?
What's happening? I'm doing well.
On tour right now, and with the band Seether. Tell us how the tour is going so far.
It's going great. You know, we wanted to hit all the big festivals for the summer, and on the side dates, we picked up some shows with Seether, and they're going great. So couldn't be happier.
I was very excited to get my mailbox this morning, Cauterize. It's coming out in a month, June 9th, and holy heavy riff.
Hey, man.
Very melodic, though. Very riffy, but very melodic. Tell us about the writing of the record. Did you guys try to go for a certain aspect, like a certain direction, or?
The only thing I ever have in mind is to outdo the previous album, you know, and when we did the first album, you know, we were very proud of it. It was just something that we had on a shoestring budget. We had a limited amount of time. It was the first time I was ever singing in the studio, so we didn't really know what we were capable of. Now that we know what we're capable of and we're out there touring, we came back in the studio and just attacked it. And I wanted to record 20 songs. I knew I had Elvis, our producer, for a limited amount of time, so we made the most of it. Worked really, really hard before getting into the studio. Came to him with about 25 songs, and we whittled it down to 20 and created 2 albums.
Yeah, and I want to talk to you about the second album, but let's focus on Cauterize. Now that you're the vocalist, do you feel a little bit more of an added pressure to, you know, write because now you're the vocalist and you're the guitarist in the band?
The pressure to me is to be the entertainer, you know. You know, I said this in another interview that I had done, that the performance is actually easy. If you're healthy, you're not sick or don't have a cold,
right, the
singing and playing guitar is fun, and it becomes second nature after you've done it so many times. It's the being the entertainer that
right.
If you have a crowd that's more quiet, you gotta bring them to the party. So it's that's a new skill set that you can only learn with experience.
Compare the writing between this record and All I Was. Obviously, you know, your initial effort, you have a lot of time, obviously, to put some thought into it. But now, you know, your second sophomore effort, maybe, I don't want to say there's pressure around, but there's, you know, maybe an expectation or something, or?
You know, I never feel any of the pressures. I always have a ton of ideas on deck, and I know that as long as I'm working hard, I'll hopefully improve as a songwriter. And I always say, if you're not getting better, you're getting worse. So I'm always working as hard as I can to make each album better than the last. And you know, on the guitar, trying to learn new things. So I'm not just repeating everything I've done my whole career. You know, I want to always evolve, and evolve both with the guitar and as a songwriter, and now as a vocalist.
The record, like I said, is coming out June 9th. Are you guys doing any special, possibly in stores, or any type of promotions for the record? Or
we'll be in Europe, so we'll just be touring.
Well, specials, and maybe in Europe, doing some European festivals. You said,
we're hitting all. I think the best way to promote this band is to hit every festival possible. So we're doing all the biggest ones around the world, and well, in Europe and the States for now. But they're a huge way to get new people on board.
Rock on the Range obviously is one of the bigger festivals, and you guys are playing that.
Oh, yeah.
So, Dust is going to be the working title for the second disc.
Is that correct? It is the title. Yep.
Okay. How did that, like, I know you said you had Elvis for a very short time, but did that kind of just in the studio say, you know, we're cranking these songs out, let's do another disc, or was it all along the purpose of doing 2 records at one time?
No, I mean, it's not that we had them for a short time. We had them for a good 2.5 months. It was just, I like to get as much done as possible, so I wanted to do 20 songs, and when you're doing 20 songs and you look at that song chart of everything that needs to be done, it's just a mountain of work. So we worked about 40 days of me with my laptop, sitting with the guys, you like this idea, piecing all together the puzzle pieces. Then we'd, as a band, put together our rough arrangements. Like I said, we had about 25 to bring to Elvis, and then once we sit in front of Elvis and play him, we all vote, okay, let's lose these 5, let's go with these 20. And then we dive into pre-production for about 2 weeks. We take each song and rip it apart, put it back together as many times, make the transitions as smooth as possible, make everything pop. And then some songs just come alive, like Flying Monkeys and Providence off this record really came a long way in pre-production. And then when I looked back, when it was mixing time, I looked back at the 20 songs. I did not want to put out a 13-song record and then 7 songs that are considered
like an EP
B-sides.
or something like that, yeah.
Every one of these should be considered A-side songs. I don't want, because we worked so hard on all of them. So I just split it up evenly. Each record is similar in dynamics. It's not like you got one heavy record, one soft record.
And that's what I was going to say. How did you determine what songs are going on which disc?
I wanted both records to be solid records, so I didn't take all the good songs and put on one. I like all the songs, you know. And if there was 2 more mellow songs, one goes on the first, one goes on the second. If there was more of a moody, long song, each record would get one. But some of my favorite songs are on Dust. I think the guitar-wise, some of the best solos are on the second record, but some of my favorite songs are on the first as well. So it's
the listener will have to make a determination, right?
Certain people like the second record. You know, from friends and family that have heard it. Some people like the first. Some people like the second. It's just that's how I want it.
Like I keep on saying, I heard the record this morning, and it was blew my mind how you know, like I said, how riffy but yet melodic. Where it was the song structure was very good, and it wasn't over singing and it wasn't overplaying. I think everything kind of very smooth, and everybody's going to be out there is going to be very pleased with the record. Your band, obviously, little change in the band with now Wolfgang Van Halen. He's a permanent fixture in the band, correct?
Yeah.
But I know he's on tour right now, and he left, but he is coming back to play bass at some point, right?
Yeah, we knew that when Wolfgang joined us that this was going to happen at some point. It just happened right at the release of the first album he was a part
timing.
of. But he's like, man, I'm so sorry this is going on. I'm like, don't say sorry. I'd be doing the same damn thing. I'd be on tour with Van Halen too if I were you.
Your own record company, Fret 12 Records. Tell us how you came up with the record company, and obviously the record's going to be released off of that.
Right. Well, Fret 12 started as my brother saying, why don't you do an instructional guitar DVD? And I always pushed him off on it. And then finally he convinced me. He's like, I want to do this bigger and better than everybody else has done it. I want this to be like the, you know, the best of the best when it comes to guitar instruction. And what he meant by that was the production value, the documentary side mixed with the instructional side mixed with just the overall production value. And they do a really good job. They've done a lot of guitar players since then. And when it came time to doing putting out this record, this company was already set up, and they put this together very, very wisely, and they hire the same people all the record labels hire. So when we shopped this to record labels, when we did the interviews, it's like, who are you hiring for publicity? Okay, that's who we already hire. Who do you hire for this? Okay, that's who we use. So they're outsourcing the same people that we're outsourcing. So there was no sense in bringing in a huge amount of people that are just going to tie your hands, you know.
Tell us about some of the other, obviously, besides yourself, the other instructional DVDs that you guys have behind.
Jim Root just did one. The Mastodon guys have filmed theirs. I don't know if they're quite out yet. They might be. Clint Lowry has filmed his. John Connolly is on his way to filming his. Leslie West has done one. Troy Stetna has done one. Gosh, I mean, there's a few other.
A bunch.
Yeah.
Okay. One of the cool things I was looking on your website this morning is that actually you, a lucky fan out there, or lucky fans who want to partake to get guitar lessons from you, can do that. I think that's pretty cool, actually.
Yeah, it's fun, man. It was just part of the whole Fret 12 thing. You know, we wanted to make these Fret 12 artist sessions. You know, my brother was always like, hey, let's do this traveling thing where you go to guitar stores and put on clinics. And I always was hesitant, because whenever I went to see a guitar clinic, it was a guitar store full of 100 people. And I don't feel like that's a good way to teach people, and I think it's more nerve-wracking. It's just me just putting on a performance, you know. I'd rather teach. So I limited it at first to 10 people, where I had another amp sitting next to me, and I'd ask for volunteers, and I'd teach them, and in teaching them, the other people would learn, because when somebody has to play it, they have to learn slowly. So now I just do it whenever we have one of our headlining shows. We put on a clinic, and I really get to know these people, because I spend, you know, it says it's an hour, but it's more like almost a 2-hour thing, and we just have fun, and it actually helps me in my guitar playing because it keeps me practicing every day for a couple extra hours that I usually would be doing interviews or sitting on the bus.
Such a great guitarist as yourself. I mean, back when we were growing up, I mean, that would never be a possibility. And I think, you know, that at least it's an option for people to partake. I think that's wonderful. So, I mean, it's very, very cool. Tell us about your other bands, Alter Bridge and Creed. We're going to start with Alter Bridge first. Obviously, Miles is on tour with Slash, but, you know, what's the prognosis for that? And since you got Dust obviously going to be coming out at some point, you know, how do you fit all that in? Let's talk about Alter Bridge first.
Me and Miles will designate a couple of weeks sometime this year to start writing for the next record, and then we'll see when Elvis and our schedules link up, and we'll get into the studio at some point next year to record a record. And as soon as we're done tracking, me and Miles will go on tour with Slash and Tremonti.
Right.
So it takes 3-4 months to set up a record, so we'll use that time to, you know, I'll probably be doing the Dust tour at that point, and then we'll go on an Alter Bridge tour, which will probably take a couple months, and then we'll find windows where we're doing both, because it's not like we just shut off Slash and Tremonti while Alter Bridge is going on. They both live in kind of unison. Me and Miles just have to sync up our schedules.
And Creed, is the band officially done, or is it kind of just on hiatus?
We just don't have any plans for it. You know, it was I've got so much to be excited about professionally between the two bands. To be honest, the last Creed tour didn't end up on a high note. You know, it was again the personal conflict, and I've just gotten to the point in my career where I don't feel like feeling any negativity in my. I like being around people that I enjoy working with, and it is what it is. And
Scott Stapp obviously was on the you know, an internet or something late last year with a lot of kind of personal issues, I guess. Have you reached out to him, or has he reached out to you? Has there been any contact there, or no? Yeah,
I reached out to him, and he told me he was sober, and then he went into a program afterwards. So he was, I think, just I guess what they say, denial is the first sign, but. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people ask me if I reached out that I need to help him, but a lot of people don't realize that in the past 10 years I've spent hardly any time with him other than when we were putting together the Full Circle record. You know, so we've kind of been strangers in this past decade, and so it's not like I know what his day in, day out comings and goings are.
Very unfortunate, because great performer. We have got lucky to see him last year. It was one of the better shows, actually. It was before his issues, so hopefully, Scott, you get better out there, and maybe we'll see the band at some point. But tell us, let's get back to your band. You have dates, obviously, through the U.S. You were just talking about Rock on the Range, and a lot more dates with Seether, and then you're talking about the European festivals. Tell us about the rest of 2015 with Tremonti.
We will complete this tour, and then there's some shows that we might do in July in Texas that we haven't decided on yet. And to get to Texas, we'll hopefully throw in Atlanta, maybe New Orleans, maybe Lafayette, Louisiana. I'm not sure, but that's on just on the deciding block for July, and then we'll take a little time off and hopefully see if we can get some offers to go down to Australia, and then we'll hit the States more thoroughly in the fall, and then hit Europe the same way. You know, we want to hit the West Coast, hit the South, and hit everywhere in the States again, pretty much, and just keep spreading the word. You know, we'll go where the momentum takes us.
Right, and Tremonti will be on the road for the rest of 2015. It seems like and then Alter Bridge will go in the studio early next year. You're saying, and then Dust probably by summer or spring or something like that. You guys will be supporting that.
Well, I mean, Dust will probably. We don't know when it's going to come out. It might be a Christmas release, might be a spring release. Not sure. We're just going to wait for the right time.
Okay. So Mark will be on the road with his band Tremonti. Definitely check him out. It'll be all over the world in support of Cauterize, which is amazing from what I heard this morning. And Mark, one of the best guitarists in my mind in the world today.
Well, thank you so much.
And Mark, a great record, great job. And go check out Mark's new record on June 9th. And what's the website again?
Just go to Tremonti.com or Fred12.com. There's special packages and whatnot where you can get a shirt and a signed CD.
Right, okay. So check that out, and BackstageAxxess.com. Thanks for taking the time.
Thank you.